Alright guys, in the last video we took out the starter, and now I'm going to start taking out the transmission bolts. So let's get in the car and let's do it. Okay, so before I start doing anything on this transmission, I'm going to drain it. Ow. Of course, I saw that coming. And once you get that drained, I believe there are 7 13mm bolts all around the transmission. Oh, my hand just got fucked up by that shit. There's one right down in there, one right here, and a few up there, and then a few on top.
Let's do this.
There you go. The second one is up in there. I think I'm gonna have to lower the transmission a little bit, so let me see. I had to get this long extension above the transmission like this, all the way up in there, and I barely broke that loose. So I'm gonna get my trusty magnet and put it all in the way in there. Get that bolt come out of there, sir. Arigato gozaimasu. Hey! Hey, hey, hey! Alright, anyways, I'm gonna get all these sensors off, make sure all the bolts are out. I do have one bolt in there just to hold the transmission in. Alright, so I got those 2 13mm bolts off the bottom, and that one that was right there, I got that one off. And all the wiring I got off of the engine. They're all just on top right now. I put them up there. Alright, totally different scene. I got the transmission off, it's right there. A lot of wiggling, definitely get a pry bar like that. But yeah, now I'm gonna take off the clutch and then take off the flywheel, get that resurfaced, and then tomorrow my new clutch will be coming in. There's a ton of these in there. I'm honestly not sure what this is or what, but when I took that off, this all kind of fell out of there. So, and it fell out of like right there. Oh my gosh, look at all this shit I found in here. Like, what the Okay, so to get the flywheel to stop moving, I wedged a piece of wood right here. These bolts are coming off pretty easy. Alright, so I got it all out, and yep, that looks like the clutch is so this shit definitely is done for. All of this just fell out right when that clutch fell. This all just fell out of there. If you're wondering how to break these flywheel bolts without using an impact, you got to put one of the clutch bolts in and one of the transmission bolts in. Put the close side of the wrench on the clutch bolts, and then this on the outside of on the inside of the transmission bolt. Throw the open end, and you should be able to just break that motherfucker loose just like that. Alright guys, so I have to cut this piece of plywood down so I can run it in between the jack stands to give me like more of a better runway. The new pilot bearing is with this whole thing, so I'm gonna have to take that ring out. So I took out the bigger piece now. You can see that it's empty. I'm gonna wipe that out, clean up this area a little bit, and then throw in the new pilot bearing. The old piece of the old pilot bearing, to hit it in, I'm gonna put this flat part down on it and hit this with a hammer. Now I'm gonna get this cover off. This is for the rear main seal cover. I got the pilot bearing all the way in. All right, so I waited an hour. Now I'm gonna torque each of these smaller 8mm bolts to 89 inch-pounds. And these two bottom, I believe they are 13mm to 15 foot-pounds. I'm gonna grab my little torque wrench. Make sure inch-pounds, it's at 89. And you're gonna wanna do it into a crisscross pattern. Oh. And that should be good. So I got my flywheel here, got it resurfaced at a local machine shop. Now I'm just gonna clean it off with some brake cleaner. Now grab your torque wrench and go to 64 foot-pounds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. All right, so here's my new clutch. I went ahead and got the alignment tool and drew a line on top. This will help align the transmission, the input shaft, when you put the transmission back on. So it's just a helpful tool to keep it straight up, and then you can put it straight up on the transmission itself. I'm gonna clean the back of the pressure plate with some brake clean, and then I'm gonna install the clutch with this alignment tool and then bolt up the pressure plate. Got it on! Golly, did you see that shit? It took like 12 minutes.